Welcome to Her Anime Universe. I'm your host Carla, and if you love anime, manga, and the stories that inspire and entertain us, you're in the right place. Here we get into epic adventures, heartfelt romances, unforgettable characters, and even the lessons we can take from them. So whether you're here for nostalgia, new recommendations, or just a good time geeking out, join me, a longtime fangirl, as we explore the universe of all things anime, manga, and even the occasional K-drama. Remember to follow, like, and subscribe, and if you enjoy the show, leave a review. It helps more anime lovers find the podcast and keeps the conversations going. Hey everyone, welcome to Her Anime Universe. I'm so excited to have you here for another episode. Today we're diving into one of my favorite series, Inuyasha, and reflecting on the lessons we can learn from several of the characters for specifically of this series. And one of the reasons that I've always loved this show and I've loved Inuyasha is because it's more than just a fantasy adventure. It's an anime that's set in feudal Japan, where modern day girl Kagome is transported through a mysterious well into a world of demons, magic, and ancient stuff. She discovers she is the reincarnation of a powerful priestess and holds this sacred Shikon jewel, which ends up shattering into so many fragments that scatter across the world. Alongside half demon Inuyasha, Kagome embarks on this journey to recover the shards before they fall into the wrong hands. Along the way, they face dangerous people, foes, form unexpected alliances, and navigate those complexities of trust, friendship, and love. So, at its heart, Inuyasha is a story about growth, redemption, and the battle between good and evil. So, now let me get into the characters and what I got from each of them. Right? So, there's Inuyasha and his battle for identity. He's such a special character to me. Most people might say Kagome is their favorite, but for me, it's him. As a half demon and half human, he's constantly battling with his sense of identity. Who is he? Is he human or is he demon? That internal conflict follows him throughout the series, even as he grows stronger and more confident in his abilities. This really hit home for me. Growing up, I battled with my own sense of identity. I am half Salvadorian, half Honduran, born in the US, and for the longest time I didn't know where I fit. Was I Salvadorian, Honduran, just from the US? And it wasn't just about labels, it was about understanding myself and where I belonged. Inuyasha's journey reminds me of how long it took me to embrace all parts of who I am. For me, that clarity didn't come until I was like 27 or something. Even now, as a mom, my sense of self is still evolving. What I love about Inuyasha is that despite his strength and confidence on the outside, there's this constant inner struggle to truly accept himself. And this is such a beautiful reminder that questioning ourselves, questioning yourself, doesn't make you weak. It's part of the journey, it's part of your evolving, right, to become who you are. So that's the really amazing part of Inuyasha. So, another character that I think is really important, and I think he is probably my second favorite character in the series, is Sesshōmaru, right? Sesshōmaru is this other character, and it's about his power and his purpose, right? And he is actually Inuyasha's half brother. He's actually a full blooded demon, so at first, he's everything Inuyasha is not: strong, self assured, independent to a fault. But here's what makes him so interesting: it's his growth. When we first see him in the show, when we first meet him, he's selfish, detached, seemingly caring about no one but himself. He'll destroy anything that gets in his way. But as the story unfolds, we see him finding purpose. And more importantly, we see him cherish someone pretty deeply. That moment when he begins to care for someone other than himself, that's the transformative part, right? That's where you see, like, oh, something different is happening. And so for me, this resonates because this journey of discovering our purpose, my purpose, his story shows that even the strongest, most self reliant individuals can feel lost without something or someone to care for. And I think I felt this shift in my own life, especially as I've grown into my purpose and found ways to help others. Once you find that thing or that person you cherish, it changes everything. You stop focusing only on yourself and start protecting and nurturing what matters most, right? Those you love. And what's so powerful about Seishomaru's arc is that as much as he's this badass, untouchable demon, powerful, He ultimately finds that his strength means nothing without a connection. And that's such a deep, deep, deep message. The other thing he learns is understanding gifts that have been given to him, right? Something his father leaves for him that he didn't understand why this was useful. And I'm not going to go too deep into it to not give too much away, but he got a sword from his dad to heal. And he's not one to heal, right? He didn't understand this at first. And so to get that and finding someone that he truly cares for, then there's that purpose in that gift that his father left him. And so, again, that's such a deep message in how he's evolving and changing and growing. Now, the next character, of course, I can't not talk about her, is Kagome and the strength of adaptation and, how she connects with others. She's such an incredible character because of the way she grows throughout the series. At first, she's hesitant, skeptical, someone who doesn't believe in spirits or demons, despite all the stories her grandpa has shared with her throughout her life. She's put into this whole new world on what was supposed to be a normal day, and she has no choice but to adapt and overcome. She had to learn quickly that she couldn't afford to just hesitate and not trust anyone. She had to believe in what she was seeing and figure things out as she went. Often in life or death situations, mostly, which is not great. But what really stands out about her is the way she communicates and connects with others. She had to navigate a completely different world and figure out the ways and customs of these people she didn't know. And then when she met Inuyasha, she had to figure him out too. Who was this guy? And could he maybe help her survive in this world? Should he free him? And what's beautiful about Kagome is how she became a guide for Inuyasha. Not necessarily to control him, sit boy, if you know this, but to balance him. She saw both sides of who he was, human and demon, and accepted him fully. She challenged him in a way that helped him grow, but also celebrated who he was. And isn't that what we all want in life, whether it's a friend, a partner, or someone else that we're close to? Finding someone who helps us find that balance and challenges us in a loving way is so powerful. Kagome's story is a reminder that even when we're thrown into unfamiliar and challenging situations, we can adapt, we can learn, and we can overcome. And when we find someone who helps us grow while accepting us as we are, that journey, that adventure just becomes even more powerful and meaningful. And now, talking about powerful, I have to talk about Lady Kikyo, right? And her sacrifices. She's one of those characters who really grew on me over time. At first, I'll be honest, I found her annoying and frustrating. She felt like this unwelcome disruption of the ex who shows up out of nowhere to throw everything into chaos. Here, Inuyasha is trying to figure out who the heck he was and beginning to appreciate Kagome and care for Kagome. And then Lady Kikyo is brought back into his life. She comes back here, bringing what one would say nowadays drama with her. But as her story unfolds, you realize it's not about her coming back to rekindle a relationship with Inuyasha. She came back because she still cared about him deeply. She wanted to make sure he wasn't hurting others or himself, right? Is he still on this journey of attacking everything? And what I learned from her is that she and Inuyasha were each other's first love. And as beautiful as that was, it was also complicated, as one would say on Facebook. They were both so young and trying to navigate those big responsibilities. Inuyasha was struggling with his identity, and Kikyo was trying to live up to the expectations of being a great leader, a priestess responsible for her community and family. And at some point, their relationship became toxic. Not because they didn't care for each other, but because they were tricked into believing that they hated one another. And that's such a powerful lesson, I think. Sometimes, even when there's love, a relationship can become harmful. Kikyo shows incredible strength by creating those boundaries and stepping away from that toxicity, even though it meant sacrificing her own happiness, her own love. She put her family, her community, and her purpose before her feelings. And what I learned from her, and what I learned to appreciate, is what it means to be a true leader. It often requires sacrifice, knowing when to step forward, taking action, and when to take that page turn on a chapter that's no longer serving you or those around you. It's about recognizing when to let go, not out of hate, but out of love for what's ahead. She came back to fulfill her purpose, to make the world better, and once that was done, she was able to move on. Her story, Kikyo's story, reminds us to be grateful for the lessons people bring into our lives. Even if they can be painful, she taught Inuyasha to appreciate the present, to value what he had now, and to move forward from the past. And in her quiet, powerful way, as the saying goes, she showed us that with great power comes great responsibility. Her story isn't just about loss or sacrifice. It's about fulfilling your purpose and leaving the world better than you found it. And so, what I learned from these four characters when I think about Inuyasha, Sesshōmaru, Kagome, Lady Kikyo, the other characters, I realize how much their stories reflect our own struggles, our own growth, and purpose. Inuyasha taught me the importance of embracing all parts of who I am, even the parts I struggle with, the parts that I struggle to accept. Sesshōmaru showed me that strength without purpose is empty, and that finding someone or something to cherish can completely transform you and appreciate the gifts you're given. Kagome reminded me that we're all capable of adapting, growing, and overcoming, even when thrown into the most unfamiliar circumstances. And Kikyo showed me that true leadership requires a little bit of sacrifice and the courage to let go when it's needed. And so these characters aren't just a part of an anime. They can be mirrors of life lessons we can carry with us. And that's why I love anime. They remind us to embrace our journeys, to cherish the people we meet along the way, and to always strive to leave a world better than how we found it. And so those are a few things I learned from one of my favorite series ever. I probably have repeated it many times, and I probably will continue because I always get something from it. If you watched Inuyasha before, let me know what you thought about it, if you loved it, if you hated it, if there's a favorite character of yours, who your least favorite character is. Just let me know in the comments below. If you're listening, you can still put some comments in here. Send me a message. Let me know what you thought of this episode, and make sure to, once you start listening to more episodes, leave a review. So thank you for joining me as I get all nostalgic and reflect on, again, this favorites of mine and what I occasionally will always go back to, as I said, Inuyasha. And so, with that being said, until next time. That's it for today's episode of Her Anime Universe. Thanks for hanging out with me and geeking out over all things anime and manga. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. It really helps this podcast grow. Let's keep the conversation going over on Instagram at Her Anime Universe or even on my other page at Coach Carlita. Until next time, stay bold, stay curious, and keep being unapologetically you.